It's slow right now. Okay. Hello. Our countdown did not happen today, but this is Bart.
It's like, ooh,
Yeah, this is
we're on.
Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 105.3. And we are out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. But of course, we are worldwide and we are everywhere, as I like to say. I am right now in Austin, Texas, and my God, we're all staying inside when we can because it's so hot here today. Um, but we live on and move on, and it's a wonderful time to do radio and be with radio. And also, uh, just how to connect with us. For starters, you can go to the UPRN website, but we also are on Roku, which means we're on television, cable television, and you can find us on Roku as well as on Facebook and YouTube and other modalities out there. So we're all over the place, all over the world. And today we have a very special guest on more conscious love, particularly in all forms of relationships, guiding hearts, igniting love. And our guests are Jenna Love and Janet Moore, and they are passionate love coaches behind More Conscious Love. And they're dedicated to helping individuals unlock the power of true love and personal transformation. A big job for sure, and one that we need more in the world. And with their expertise in NLP, hypnosis, QTT, energy clearing, and EFT, they are on a mission to transform the lives of over 300 singles this year alone. But they've been doing it for years and continue, hope to see them do it in the future. But Jenna Love is the empathic architect of hearts that holds a nurturing guidance that empowers individuals to embrace their higher selves, radiating magnetic energy and attracting an aligned partner to your life. And that's an exciting prospect. And Janet Moore, a seasoned dating coach with 15 years of experience, also brings a wealth of wisdom and expertise to the More Conscious Love family. And additionally, More Conscious Love hosts conscious singles events in Austin, Texas, fostering connections and creating opportunities for meaningful encounters. I attended one of their workshops and found it to be a lot of fun and enlightening, and I can testament of what powerful connectors they are. But you can also join More Conscious Love, their Love Accelerator Academy, on an online group coaching program. And this would be on www.moreconsciouslove.com. And also, they engage personalized one-on-one coaching with Jenna and Janet to embark on an exhilarating journey of self-discovery and find love you've been seeking. That's quite a write-up. And these are two quite wonderful ladies deserving that write-up. So welcome, Jenna Love and Janet Moore, to More Becoming Quantum Consciousness.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here and speak to your audience today. We have been so excited about this opportunity.
Oh, yes, and it is because, I think relationships are, it's one of the most intriguing things in people's lives. And I'm just always amazed at those who are so dedicated to it because it's a challenging topic. I mean, I think of it with marriage counselors and relationship coaches and dating coaches are all much needed and rarely a lot to take on. So I applaud you for starters. Thank you for being here. And, can you just tell me, maybe share like a defining moment or experience that solidified your passion for more conscious love? What got you started doing this type of work?
Well, for me, it's a personal story because there came a time in my relationship and my marriage that we were at a breaking point and found that all of the drama from my childhood experiences was resurfacing unconsciously and rearing its super ugly head in my relationship. There was lots of fighting and just unhappiness that was happening at home. And so my husband and I began the search of um, conscious uncoupling. We wanted support in that way. And so we stumbled across a coach who was helping people using techniques like QTT and NLP and hypnosis, all of these really powerful modalities.
Could
And
you just tell what those acronyms stand for so people who don't
yeah,
know those might have a better idea of what you're talking about?
absolutely. So NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and QTT stands for Quantum Time Techniques, which is basically a branch off of timeline therapy. And then hypnosis is pretty self-explanatory, but it's not the the scary thing that everyone thinks it is.
Yes.
Essentially, all of these modalities work with the unconscious mind because we are 95%, we use our unconscious mind over 95% of the time. It inhabits our emotions, our habits, our behaviors, all of the things that kind of make up how we show up in the world.
So your unconscious mind was really being a stress on your relationship.
Yes, it was sabotaging the beautiful relationship that I worked so hard to find. And so once my husband and I did the work to clear out our old baggage from the past separately, we found that when we reunited that it was like a clean slate. It was like
Mhm.
a tilled garden that was fresh and ready to plant seeds of love and affection and intimacy, clear of triggers, clear of drama and fighting. We were able to show up in hard conversations with a neutral heart instead of being defensive and triggered. And it transformed my relationship to where we almost felt like newlyweds again. So for
And
me,
and I guess this is a relationship that had been there you've had for several years. So all the
absolutely.
hormones and all of that stuff was out of the picture, and you were face to face, heart to heart with this person.
Exactly. So it inspired my husband and I both to actually want to help other people in this capacity because the experience we went through was so incredibly powerful. I literally felt lighter after doing this work. I even took before and after picture and I saw my face just completely lift because I wasn't holding on to that tension anymore, because our body stores all of those old emotions, right?
They
So,
do.
yeah. So once we did the clearing and showed up, and felt inspired, my husband and I both ended up getting certified in all of these modalities ourselves so that we could help couples. And so we
Mm,
helped couples for a while until it dawned on me one day. I was like, what if we help people before they get in a relationship so that
wow.
they can show up in a relationship with a fresh start and avoid all the drama, all of the fighting, and all of the stuff that we had to go through? And so that's when we made the decision to start helping single people.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Thank
Uh, and when you do it that way, that you've been on one end and you come through the gauntlet to the other side, I think it gives you a special passion to give a service. You know, your wounds make you the healer and the facilitator
Mm,
with that.
yes.
And as I've seen Jenna talk a couple of times, and Janet, they are passionate presenters. They want
Mhm.
people to have this what they have.
Thank
And
you,
it's so
Bart.
beautiful. Yeah, I just wanted to also add on United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Radio on Roku and Becoming Quantum Conscious, that if you wish to ask Jenna and Janet a question or comment, just type it out on the chat and send it our way. We love to surprise them, and like the master.
That's right. Bring it on.
What was it? There was a '60s television show where you could try to fool the wizard or something. I can't remember the exact title, but people could ask these off-the-wall questions, and the wizard had to handle them. We won't be that tough on you, but these two ladies are experts in relationships, and so take the opportunity.
Yeah, well, I was going to say how I started was actually I used to be a software developer, and I was actually really shy and quiet. And I did the personal growth course, and in one conversation, got over my insecurity, and I was
Wow.
able to be confident. So that's where I came from, not so much from relationships, but from a confidence standpoint, helping
Hmm.
people be confident in dating. So I'm mostly kind of call myself a confidence and connection coach because of all the training that I had with Landmark Worldwide, and basically applying what I've learned into my coaching. So that's kind of how that started. And then I was in the wisdom course, and these single guys were telling me, you know, I was telling them how to walk, how to talk, all these different things because we were talking about structural language, which later we'll talk later about body language and how important it is.
Hmm.
And they were saying you should do this for a living. So that's kind of, they inspired me. They were the ones that kind of inspired me to go out there and do this. I got image consulting training first. It's looking good, makes you feel confident, right? And then
Yep.
later I created a flirting workshop on how to be confident and how to connect with others. And then I did singles events, programs, things like that over the years. And then Jenna and I met just like a year and a half ago at trainers training, NLP, hypnosis critique trainers training, where you actually are trained in not only NLP and all that, but also in how to be a speaker. So that's where we met. We were actually on the same team.
Yeah.
And she said she was wanting to get into singles. And that's when I said, well, I used to do singles all the time. And that's when we started More Conscious Love, the singles events that you see now, things like that. So that's kind of
Wow.
how we kind of became to know each other and move forward together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as they say in a commercial, confidence is sexy, and that feeling that you have something very appealing inside of you is an important tool to walk with
Hmm.
all of this. And it sounds like all of the work you did gave you something that you wanted to present out to the world uh, when you took all of this work, Janet.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because a lot of people know me now and they're like, I can't believe you were ever shy. And I'm like, yes, I really was. I used to have panic attacks when I get in front of people and speak. So the fact that have given workshops and stuff like that is like a true testament to the personal growth that I've done. I mean, um,
Oh,
it really was, but it really can happen like that for people. And that's what I want to show people is that confidence can happen like that. Connections can, you connecting with people, getting out of your head and just being with people, which we'll talk about a little later,
mhm.
is something that is really, it's not like it's innately in you. Some people have it, but some people don't, like I didn't. But it's really something you can learn and just get, and it can just, you
Yeah,
can
you can be very shy and still have this huge desire to be seen and to talk and to be understood by people. And that's a special talent to be able to get that out of people and,
Hmm.
of and becoming adults. We it's an important thing, and I don't think everybody's learned it. So
Yeah,
thank you.
especially these days, people all are on their phone. They're not really connecting, like one-on-one, face-to-face, things like that. That's one of the reasons we really have our singles events, because people, instead of meeting online, they meeting offline in an event.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They can practice meeting new people in person. And so that's one of the things I really love, is helping people become more confident in who they are. We've had clients that were quiet and shy. This one girl, nobody knew her at work, really. They were kind of afraid of her. She's completely did a 180, and now people are like, who are you? And you're being nice to us, and wow, that's so cool. It's like, and then her family dynamic shifted because she shifted.
Wow.
So when you
Mm-hmm.
shift, everything around you shifts.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that just takes practice, and which, being at one of your workshops, I always found that your questions or exercises that were kind of opened as a question felt safe, but yet it was intriguing. It's almost like, yes, I would like to express that about myself. And yet it's not too far out that you would embarrass yourself. And that's a really, a special talent to offer. And I know when I did your workshop, I was very energized and I had a load of fun and through the whole experience. And yes, I was once a shy person too.
Oh, that's awesome.
I still am in some way. I don't think you really ever lose it totally. And maybe you start to learn how it can become a power for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can draw people in through your shyness.
Yeah, I agree, because everyone's listening and like, are they going to say something? And when you do say something, it's super powerful and potent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of times I think, because I used to be that way, is I used to be in my head about what people were thinking about me, worried that they weren't going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got that they're going to like me or not based on me, that's when I said, oh, all I have to do is just be myself. So that was really the defining moment for me. Was all of us, that's part of our little workshop that we did when you were there, Bart. We asked you to close your eyes and listen to the chatter in your head. There's that negative chatter that's always running, right? And that's what has us not connect with people. And in fact, when we get to our talk in a minute, we'll tell you a little bit about that, about how you can get out of your head and connect with people. So
that sounds like a good exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So important. I think a good question to ask is, what judgments do I think people are making of me? When I'm being flirtatious or being in a conversation to attract somebody. Maybe that's a better stated word. And look about what you feel what you fear people are judging about you. That was a really good one for me. And I know you have a lot of great stuff. And so, what are some of the effective ways to provide constructive feedback inside of a relationship that encourages growth and learning?
Yes, that's a good question, because feedback is important, right? If we don't give each other feedback, like Janet and I, after every singles event, we're giving each other feedback so we can grow and evolve. And in the trainings that we went to, we got massive feedback, and it was what made us who we are today.
And in our events, we actually at the end ask for feedback from the people that came, so we can adjust, and so we can always grow and learn and make our events even better.
Yeah. And in relationships, it's a huge piece of really expressing, being able to express your desires, your needs, and all of the things that are going to make the relationship a happy one, right?
Yes.
So I know I give my husband feedback all the time. And the way that we recommend giving feedback is to sandwich it, to actually start off with something positive, something that you're noticing that is working, and then throw in the feedback in a loving way. And then finish off also with more positive, or something that you see that's coming that's positive. So positive feedback, positive. We call it sandwich feedback.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a really safe container.
Yeah. It's so much better received when it's stacked with the positive. It's well received that way.
Yeah. And going back to what you were talking about, doing all the personal work of, clearing your unconscious and your unconscious fears. A lot of times when we give feedback to another person, a lot of those repressed emotions kind of come in through the back door, almost energetically or non-verbally. And when we're trying to be loving and give loving feedback, we're actually bringing up a lot of maybe something like anger and not really realize that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you first come from complimenting, like connecting with somebody by complimenting them first, has them first take, not like they're defensive, will kind of be let down. Their guard, I guess, will be let down if you're coming to them, right? So that's what that does. Also, another thing you can do is also take responsibility for something that you did first before you kind of give feedback. I know I shouldn't have done this, or I realize, I want to say thank you for doing this for me, or whatever it is, like compliment them on something, or and then say, take responsibility for something you did, and then give the feedback. So that makes it even easier for the person to receive it.
So true. It's almost like claiming our own part before we get into seeing what their part is.
Yes. It's a great key point.
Yeah, they'll be more likely to connect with you and listen to you if you start that way, as opposed to coming in, hey, you did this. It's like, the compliment, like you said, the sandwich, and then take responsibility, and then ask for what you want, or the feedback that you're wanting to give, and then of course follow with the positive as well.
Well, that's a good one. That is a really good one. And it's good to have a structure with that. So when you're learning a new tool like that you want to do it differently. You want to break out of that cycle of conflicts that you're having with a partner. To have a strategy like that makes a world of difference.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know, we have our MCL. It's called, of course,
that would be more conscious love.
Yeah.
But we actually, it's called
the MCL method.
Yeah, it's the matching magic.
Connect with your presence
and listen.
Listening mastery.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, let's go into that. Those are 3 wonderful steps, simply in 3 simple statements, but they mean so much more.
Yes.
Yes, this is for how to learn, being able to connect even more. That was the feedback. If you're wanting to give feedback, that's how you would do that. But this is actually how to create connection when you're with somebody. It could be someone for business. It could be someone for love. You're meeting someone new, or it could be even in a relationship.
Yeah, someone that you've already been dating, or someone you've been in a partnership with.
Yes. So say those 3 statements again, because all of this goes by everybody's ears so quickly.
Sure.
We've got the MCL method, which stands for more conscious love. And
well, yeah, for this, it's matching magic.
Yeah.
So the M is for matching magic.
And then the C is for connecting with your presence. And then the L is for listening mastery. And you're going to want to listen to this talk if you're looking to deepen your connections with people and get like instant rapport. Rapport is establishing trust with somebody. So if you want somebody to just feel overall like they like you, then this would be a talk that you want to pay close attention to.
Yes, it is. I love that idea of matching magic. I heard that correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yes, matching magic.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, so matching magic, it's essentially stemming off of one of our NLP techniques called matching and mirroring. And so our unconscious minds, they look for similarities naturally, whether we know it or not, right? So if we're out in a crowd, we're, unconsciously looking for people like us to connect with. Or if you hear that you have something in common with somebody, instantly you're like, oh, that's my person. This is my people. This is my tribe, right?
And you think about it, birds of a feather flock together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so again, unconsciously, which is 95% of how our mind works, we're searching for similarities in others. And this applies to, like Janet said, all areas of life, right? In your business, in your relationships. And so, there's ways that you can match people or find similarities, like things that you have in common, right? So there's intellectual things that can be matched, but there's also body language that can be matched.
Yeah.
So,
in communication, the thing that's like the 55% of communication is body language. So it's not even what you say, it's your body language. And then, of course, 38% is your tone of voice.
Yes.
So what's really kind of why we call it matching magic, why we call it magic is because it really is magic. It seems like magic because when you start mirroring and matching with your body, they start connecting to you even more. And they're like, oh.
It is. And I think there's the energetic element in that as well.
Absolutely.
Nonverbal and body positioning and other aspects, tone of voice, pitch of voice, your volume, all of these things are part of that package.
Absolutely.
They're not the content of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can actually not even say anything and have people fall in love with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. There's some little tricks we'll tell you in a minute how to speak in a way that will have people also be more connected. But just giving your body and your tone of voice, not the words, can make magic happen.
Yeah. So by matching body language, we're referring to, if somebody is leaning in a bit, then you lean in a bit and they will feel in rapport with you. They'll feel trust. Or if somebody's legs are crossed, you can simply cross your legs too. Maybe, or if you're not in a position to where you can actually cross your legs, you can instead cross your arms, and that would still be a way to mirror them. You can also match things like the pace of their breath. If somebody is breathing in rapport with you.
So when they're breathing, you match their breathing.
That they.
Wow.
Yeah.
So matching their body position. If they're doing this, then you might do this, or mirror or match, depending on which way they are.
Yeah. And it's all about creating, I guess, a safety and security that you can open to relate to a person on a deeper level. Like you're bringing that message across that I'm willing to be safe and secure with you.
Absolutely. It creates that feeling of safety, that feeling of trust.
Because similarities, right, is what people are looking for. And that creates a safety.
Yeah.
Safety presence.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins says, people that are like each other. So not just like an interest in what they like, but also the way they're breathing, the way they're positioning their hands.
Facial expressions. And then also blinking, actually. You can match their blinking. Super small, minute things like the firmness of the handshake is also, you can match that. You can also match the body position that they're in, which we touched on briefly, and gestures. If someone's talking big with their hands, you try it too and see what happens.
Yeah, it's all in about, it sounds like, that you are resonating the same energy frequency.
Exactly.
And that's a wonderful thing. And one thing that you two always bring in your presentations that I think open a very important door in that magic is fun and enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that fits into what you're saying, but I think somewhere in there's something with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, matching somebody's enthusiasm would definitely be a key. And if that's what we're trying to create in our events, then we need to be that first. And then hopefully people will unconsciously match it and they'll be enthusiastic about their love life too.
Yeah. And what a safe container both of you create so people can go out there and express that.
Thank you.
And and just thinking of another thing, what do you think are some of the common challenges or patterns that people experience about relationships, and how do you help them overcome it? I know we've explored this a little bit, but is there anything else you see in that question?
Well, for me, even in my relationships, I'm still working on peeling back the layers of childhood stuff, right? Like I grew up with alcoholic parents, and so there was a lot of drama at home. I think that a lot of people grow up and they're kind of programmed and with the old programming, right? That's kind of unhealthy. Like the parents maybe didn't really know how to speak kindly to each other in front of the child. And so the child now sees that as how we're supposed to communicate in adults in our grown-up relationships, right?
Yes.
So yeah, most of the challenges that I come across in my clients is stuff from the past that's showing up in the present. Because it's true, our relationships with our caregivers as children are going to directly reflect our relationships as adults, our romantic relationships. The bonds that we created with our parents are going to reflect the bonds that we're making in our romantic relationships. So when those bonds from childhood aren't healthy, then that's when we unconsciously do these patterns of, self-sabotage in relationships. And that's when the attachment styles come in. That is the biggest challenge, I believe, for people, not only who are working to get in a relationship, but people who are already in relationship. For the longest time, even though I was already married and I already had my partner, for the longest time, my pattern was telling him, I want a divorce. I want out. I want to leave. I was that avoidant attacher. I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave every time it got rough. And that was just my avoidant attachment style coming up, even though I was already in a partnership. So really rewiring the unconscious mind is the way that I help my clients to move past that, to get through the anxious attachment, the avoidant attachment styles, because from my perspective, people who are dating, that's kind of the glass ceiling they keep bumping up against is their the patterns that come up where they get really anxious in relationship, or they scare people off because they're texting too much and they're too needy, or the flip side of the coin, they get intimidated by the commitment that's in front of them and they flee. I did that for so many years. So
in such a warped way, the person that's exhibiting those behaviors, there's an unconscious belief system there that this is how I get love.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, we could be a very passive person or a victim. And if we think if we show everybody our wounds, that they're going to have empathy for us and give us love, for example. Or if we dominate them,
Mm,
uh, they're going to feel safe and secure in our strength and they're going to love us. As crazy as those strategies sound, that's how it works because they're unconscious patterns.
yep.
And usually it's related to either your mother, your father, or both. And until
Yes.
inside a landmark, one of the big things they said is getting complete with your parents. So that's one of the coachings I usually take on is making sure that you get complete with your parents, because then how can you go into a relationship with somebody if you are still angry and resenting your parents? Especially maybe if you're a man, your mother, or if you're a woman, your father. So it's like icing on mud pie. It looks pretty, but you're really underneath is all this stuff, this baggage,
Yes.
these negative
Yes.
beliefs that are running the show, and you
Yep.
don't even know it. And
Yes.
that's why coaching can, like, a lot of times people can't see it. So that's why coaching is really important, so you can remove
It is, and particularly when you're focused on a topic with a coach that is a dating coach or a love coach or a relationship coach, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to just put this out there. We are with Janet Moore and Jenna Love at More Conscious Love. And this show is Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and on Roku, YouTube, Facebook, and all around the world. So we're having a very intriguing conversation about relationships. And I love this topic you're talking about because when we find somebody that is our dysfunctional match, in other words, they're kind of like our parent,
Mm,
energetically, one that we weren't able to resolve things with, and we find somebody like that, and then we start loving them and mating with them. It can feel like the most wonderful thing because it feels like unconsciously we're getting love from our parent,
hmm.
and yet we're throwing ourselves in a fire with gasoline.
Yeah,
That's a good analogy.
Bad idea. Yeah.
I know this pattern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, then the next step in our MCL method is connecting with your presence. So we touched on the M, which is matching magic, for how you can match your body language. We can also match your tone of voice, breath, rate of the blinking, right? There's all kinds of things that you can match. And now we're going to move on to connecting with your presence.
Yeah, so connecting with your presence means really giving, like, not being on your phone, really looking at them and being with them. You could say being with, right? We did that in our workshop, a little being with exercise, but it's really just really being with another person. And I think the thing I like to look back, we in our last singles event, we actually have a new talk called the MCL method, where we actually practice this in the workshop, and giving your presence to another person and showing the difference between the two. So if you want to have someone really be really connected to you, just really give them your presence. And that, so like, I have a fun story about, it's not romantic, but it shows the power of your presence. So like for a job, for anything that's going on, this one friend of mine, he's a dance instructor, and I would dance with him and he would just be aloof and looking off like this, like not really looking at me. And I was like, dude, and then look at me. Now you're a dance instructor. If you want to get clients like to smile at me and look at me is the one way,
Oh,
but
yes.
I noticed I would watch him with other women. He never looked at them. So I became his coach, and I showed him that this doesn't work. And so I went out with him and I would dance with him. And I say, hey, I'm over here. Smile at me. Come on, smile. And I would have him work with me to eventually start looking at me while we were dancing. And then I said, okay, now go out there and dance with other women. I would watch him. I'd give him feedback about how he was doing. Eventually he became masterful at just connecting. I know it sounds like kind of like common sense to us, but to him it wasn't. And maybe he was shy or something. I don't think he was, but I don't know what it
I
was.
think that's how the unconscious works. We develop unconscious patterns,
Mhm.
and we just fall into the habit.
Right. And so what's really exciting is when he started doing that, about a month or two later, he texts me and he says, Janet, I just got a client who loves me so much, she's taking us to Brazil, all expense paid, and because she wants him to be her instructor, like dance with her in the contest. But
Wow.
that had never happened to him before. But that's because he developed that rapport, that connectedness, because he started looking and giving people their presence.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what's really also magical, you could say, is when you really give someone you by your attention, they will like go, wow,
Yeah.
I like you.
Yes, it's so true. Your full undivided presence is such a gift, and it literally does make somebody feel heard and seen. And it's when somebody can truly open up to you, right? If somebody is worried about what's going on their phone, you don't want to tell them your deepest, desires and needs, because you don't feel completely safe. So really being present and then matching your body language is really going to help them unconsciously feel safe. So that's something that you can do to deepen that connection. But it makes all the difference in the world. And so that's why my husband and I, we have, scheduled conversations that we have where we decide, hey, phones are away. There's no distractions. It's just me and you. We sit down on the carpet, good old fashioned Indian style, and just have a heart to heart connection time, on a weekly basis. And it literally, it helps us to, our intimacy is better after we've had a deep connection like that. It helps with, our flow just in our daily life when we can truly have that quality connection time together.
It's emotional medicine.
Yeah.
I like
that
that.
we give to each other, and we really willingly practice it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great topic, and I just wanted to see if you could just give the audience maybe a few pointers on how they can connect better. I know we've explained some of this, but is there anything else that you would say to somebody that they might consider practicing?
Well,
Absolutely.
so we didn't get, I don't know if we have time to go into our L, which is the listening. Do we have time?
Oh yeah, we have time.
Okay. Well,
By the way, if anybody has any burning desires to ask Jenna and Janet questions, just join in on the chat. And also, I wanted to just say their website is www.moreconsciouslove.com. And you can check out all of their stuff, their coaching, and all the things that they have available for you.
Yeah. So we wanted just to go into the last one. And then actually at the end of this last one, we have 3 little, I guess, what do we call
Task
opportunity work or whatever, things
Wonderful.
that you can do and put into your life. That really 3 simple things that you can do, like you're asking, to create that connection. Okay.
Cool.
So the last one is listening
mastery.
The last part, I think that's what it was. Listening mastery. So we talked about your presence, and of course, that's just really giving them, who you are, and really listening also. But giving them your attention. So listening. When I'm saying listening, I'm actually saying listening so well that you can repeat what they say, and actually get the feeling behind it even. And this is something that's really magical as well. So when people do this, when you can actually parrot back almost what they said, and then the bonus is getting the feeling behind it. This is like what has people fall in love with you, whether it's for business, I want to hire you, or for love, I want to get to know you better, or if you're in a relationship, wow, I feel really more connected to you. I'm not mad at you anymore, or whatever it is, really listening. So being able to, again, listen so well that you can repeat what they say. So something, for example, like the person comes home and says, oh, I had a really hard day at work. My boss was telling us that we have to work overtime and I'm just so tired. And then, or, I'm just tired of this. And then you could say, oh, I hear that you had a really hard day today. It sounds like your boss was wanting you to work some overtime and you're just kind of frustrated because you feel like you've been working really hard. If you could say that back to them, then they're going to be like, wow, you really heard me. I feel heard. And when people feel heard, that's really what we all really want, is to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can hear another person, they're going to be very connected to us.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can say things like, what I'm hearing you say is, and then kind of summarize what you just heard. Or, so it sounds like, and then summarize what you heard. There's all different kinds of ways that you can just like feed it back to them. We have a great little game that we play with our clients and people at our events called the coloring listening game.
Color game.
And so she's really good at listening. Let's do it really fast. I'm just going to say a series of colors, and she just totally present with me and can repeat what I say. Okay, here we go. Red, green, blue, purple, pink. And you can see she's really, really listening to me. I feel so heard.
So again, this little exercise is about getting out of your head. So remember what I was talking about at the beginning? People are always in their head when they're listening to people a lot of times, trying to think of the next thing to say. But if you can really listen such that you can repeat what they say, you're not in your head anymore. You're not thinking about, like when I was doing that with her right then, anybody can do this, by the way. And I don't even look at her. I used to play this game with my daughter when she was little. I said, okay, talk, Jessica. And I would say what she said, and she'd giggle. And she just loved that game because she felt really heard. Right? And again, that's getting yourself. So this is a little exercise to get out of your head, because if you're really being with someone, you're not in your head. You're in their head, you could say. Right? And you can say it when they say it because you're really being so connected. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we, in our workshop, you should come to our next workshop, Bart, because we have a new little mini workshop that we do.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It sounds so much like a child's game, and that children do things so they can feel the same thing together and they feel a connection, whether that be singing a song or doing dances or, doing so many things like that. But it's all fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, if you're more masterful at that, then that's going to have someone like really be really connected to you and like you. Yeah, I've had guys tell me their life story in 10 minutes that they've never told anyone, even over the phone, just by giving me my presence and listening to them. So
absolutely.
Yes, I think that's a big desire everybody has, is just to be understood. Their pains, their joys, their accomplishments. If somebody actually heard them, they would feel more completed themselves.
Absolutely.
So you had 3 pointers. We have about 5 minutes.
Okay, great.
So
number 1 is, we thought what would be cool is to just have you do something very simple, just practicing when you're talking to someone, just match their breath. When they're breathing, just match their breath and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That could create connectedness automatically.
Yeah.
Y'all seem to be matching right now, and I'm trying to.
I was matching her a while ago.
Yeah.
And we forgot to mention that Dr. Milton Erickson, he's a psychotherapist and hypnotherapist. He discovered that people when they're people that are connected, they do that automatically, do all these things automatically. So if you want to create that, that's what you would do. So try that out and see what happens.
Yes.
Cool.
And the second one is for listening, is to just give, like when you're like, just whoever it is, just one person, could be your love interest or just a friend, give them your full divided attention and listen to them like your life depends on it. And that what they say is golden. So just like listen to them. Don't look like crazy like this, but just like listen to them. Like, okay, I've got to listen to this because this is super important, and see what happens there.
And I love the trick of the trade of listening like you're learning something. I think that no matter who you're listening to, whether it's an uncle or a professor or whoever it is that you're listening to, there's always something to learn. So I always like to listen for new information and things that I can take with me on my journey. I love to learn from people. So I that's the way that I practice listening and giving my full presence, is like, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I like that. That's really neat.
You know, there's such feminine characteristics, and maybe that's what relating and having better relationships is about, is connecting to your feminine aspects. And your masculine aspects are great because you can get a lot of things accomplished, but really about relating is not what the person you are and what you've accomplished and what you have, but it's who you are inside.
That's right. Yeah. Connect, and learning how to connect with others in a way that,
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's all about connection. Everything is wanting to be connected to another person in whatever way, right? And then our third one is listening such that you can repeat what they say. So try that out. When you're kind of giving you're just listening to them and just like you're learning, or like your life depends on it, then actually try to repeat what they say and see what happens. You can always get the bonus is trying to get the feeling behind it, but just if you can repeat kind of what they say, like what I said, in that way, and see what happens there. So do those 3 things and see what happens.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I wanted to ask y'all, do y'all have any events or projects that people on the internet worldwide can tap into to experience the wisdom that you have in relating and more conscious love?
Absolutely. We do, Bart. We have a online course called the Love Accelerator Academy. And it is a course that entails 8 powerful modules that will take people from being, frustrated and kind of, hopeless in dating, to feeling confident and excited about their love life. It helps them clear out the past, create new patterns, and learn the art of communication, the art of all the things that are, dating and relationships. It involves 8 weeks of online Q&A coaching, and you get 2 one-on-one sessions with us that will essentially break through those limiting beliefs and baggage from the past. It also includes a dating game plan. So like we'll curate the perfect game plan for you,
Customized just to you.
Yep. So it's got bonuses galore. It's jam-packed. It's like our biggest, most amazing offering for people online. Something else we have coming up that we're really, really excited about is we are having a Supercharge Your Online Profile interactive workshop. This is taking place on July 22nd. We believe that there is power in online dating, and a lot of people get frustrated about it. We would like to help people shift their mindsets around online dating, make it easier, make it funner, make it more effective for you. Actually, we're gonna give you tools, and it's going to be like I said, an interactive workshop where people are going to be able to walk away with the profile that is irresistible, that's memorable. It's going to set them apart from the rest. We're going to give you all kinds of tips and tricks of the trade on how to harness the power of online dating. And again, that's happening on July 22nd.
And what's really cool about this course is it's kind of like a mini course of the Love Accelerator. So you'll get to learn about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to really be able to take that stuff out. We create something called your Mojo Vibe. What do you want to project to others? What do you want people to know, make you memorable, unique, like she said? So we're going to be able to put that not only into your profile text, but also your pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so we're going to help you develop
that. Sounds really fun.
Our goal is...
And also, you're just available for one-on-one consultations.
That's right.
Wherever that is in the world. And this is all on www.moreconsciouslove.com.
Yeah.
And also, just to give myself a pitch, my website is bartsharp.com. And I just invite you to check out my latest book called Magic Speaks, and learning how to have magic in your life in a very logical, predictable world, and how to make magic in this reality. So all of that's really fun stuff. And Janet, I really appreciate you coming onto the show today and being with us and just sharing this valuable information.
Yes.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you
grateful.
so much. Really appreciate you having us.
Thank you so much. And this is Becoming Quantum Conscious on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on Roku, YouTube, Facebook, and more, and out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And next week, we will have Kay Gardner on internal family systems and legacy burdens. In other words, how we clear issues held through our ancestors and generational patterns created from that. So this will be a lot of fun and real deep stuff. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here today. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us all around in the United Public Radio Network. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.